Hello and welcome to a special BriefingsDirect podcast series coming to you directly from the VMworld 2014 conference. I'm Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of BriefingsDirect IT strategy discussions. We're here in San Francisco the week of August 25 to explore the latest developments in hybrid cloud computing, end-user, mobility computing, software-defined data center, and virtualization infrastructure management. Our next Innovator case study interview focuses on Columbia Sportswear in Portland, Oregon. We're joined by a group of folks from Columbia Sportswear, and we're going to learn more about how they've made the journey to software-defined data center. We'll learn how they've made strides in improving their business results through IT and where they expect to go next with their software-defined efforts. To learn more, please join me in welcoming our guests. We're here with Suzan Pickett, Manager of Global Infrastructure Services at Columbia Sportswear. Welcome.
Thank you, Dana. We're happy to be here.
We're also here with Tim Melvin, the Director of Global Technology Infrastructure at Columbia. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
And also joining us is Carlos Tronco, Lead Systems Engineer at Columbia Sportswear. Welcome.
Howdy.
Well, let's start a little bit at a high level. First, I think people are familiar with your brand, but they might not be familiar with your breadth, your global. Tell us a little bit about the company so we appreciate the task ahead of you as IT practitioners.
Columbia Sportswear is in its 75th year. We're a leader in global manufacturing of apparel, outdoor accessories, and equipment. We are distributed worldwide, so we have infrastructure in 46 locations around the world that we manage today, and we're very happy to say we are 100% virtualized on VMware products.
Now, those 46 locations, that's not your retail outlets. That's just the infrastructure that supports your retail. Is that correct?
Exactly. Our retail footprint actually in North America is around 110 retail stores today. We are looking to expand that with our joint venture in China over the next few years with Swire, a distributor of Columbia Sportswear products. And we're expecting to really grow our retail business from the 20%, 25% it is today to well over 40%.
Wow, so a fast-growing organization, and then retail itself is a fast-changing vertical. There's lots going on, lots of data to crunch, and getting more inference about preferences and bringing that back into a feedback loop. So it's a very exciting time. Tell me a bit about the business requirements that you've had that have led you to reinvest and energize IT. What are the business issues that are behind that?
Columbia Sportswear has really been going through a global business transformation. We've been refreshing our ERP. We had a greenfield implementation of SAP. We just went live with North America this year in April. Very successful go live, 100% virtualized on VMware products. And we're looking to expand that into Asia and Europe as well. So with our global business transformation also comes our consumer experience as well, so on our retail side as well as wholesale. So IT is really looking to deliver service to the business so they can become more agile and really focus on engineering better products, better design, and get that out to the consumer.
And to be clear, your retail efforts are not just bricks and mortar. You're also, I'm sure, doing it online and perhaps even now extending into the mobile tier. Any business requirements there that have changed your I suppose, challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really pleased to announce as of this week, Columbia Sportswear is now an AirWatch customer as well. So we get to expand our end-user computing and our Horizon footprint, as well as some of our software-defined data center strategies. We are really looking at expanding not only our e-commerce, brick and mortar, as you've said, but being able to deliver a more mobile, platform-agnostic solution for Columbia Sportswear and extending that out to not only Columbia employees, but our consumer experience.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's hear from Tim a little bit about what your data center requirements are. How does it translate what Suzan told us about your business challenges into your IT challenges?
Sure, it's a great question. So with our business changing and growing as quickly as it is, and with us doing business and selling directly to consumers in over 100 countries around the world, our data centers have to be adaptable. Our data and our applications have to be secure and available no matter where we are in the world, whether you're on network or off-prem. The software-defined data center has been a game changer for us. It's allowed us to take those technologies, host them where we need them with whatever cost configuration makes sense, whether it's on the cloud, in the cloud, or on-prem, and deliver the solutions that our business needs.
So let's do a quick fact check in terms of where you are on this journey to software-defined data center. It includes a lot. There's the management aspects, there's the network aspects for software-defined storage, and then of course mobile. So anybody want to give me the report card on where you are in terms of this journey?
We are 100% virtualized with our compute workloads today. We also have our storage well-defined within virtualized storage. We are working on an early adoption proof of concept with NSX today, software-defined networking, which we really feel is our next step in truly defining our software-defined data center and being able to leverage all of our virtual workloads and being able to extend that into vCloud Air, for example, and being able to burst workloads to expand our data centers, expand our tool sets. So we're really looking forward to the next step of our journey, which is NSX.
Mm-hmm. So taking that network plunge. Now, what about the public cloud options for your hybrid cloud? Do you use multiple public clouds? And what's behind your choice on which public clouds to use?
So when you look at infrastructure and the choice between on-premise solutions, hybrid clouds, public and private clouds, I don't think it's a choice necessarily of which answer you choose. There's not one right answer. I think what's important for infrastructure professionals is to understand the whole portfolio and understand where to apply your high power on-prem equipment and where to use your lower cost public cloud, because there are trade-offs in each case. When we look at our workloads, we try to present the correct tool for the correct job. So for instance, for our completely virtualized SAP environment, we run that on internal on-prem equipment. When we start to talk about development and sandbox, those in many cases are probably best served in a public cloud, as long as we can secure and we can automate just like we can on site.
As you're progressing through software-defined data center and you're exploring these different options and what works best both technically and economically in a hybrid cloud environment, what are you doing in terms of your data lifecycle? Is there a disaster recovery element to this? Are you doing warehousing in a different way and perhaps distributing that, or you're centralizing it? Because I know that analysis of data is super important for retail organizations. So any thoughts about that data component on this overall architecture?
Data is really becoming a primary concern for Columbia Sportswear, especially as we get into more analytical type situations. Today we have our two primary data centers in North America, which we do protect with SRM today. Very robust disaster recovery situation. We're very excited to work with an enterprise class cloud like vCloud Air that has not only the services that we need to host our systems, but also DR as a service, which we're very interested in pursuing, especially around our remote branch office scenarios in some of those remote countries where we don't have that protection today, and give us a little more business continuity or disaster avoidance as needed. As we look at data in our data centers, our primary data centers, or big data, if you will, and our enterprise data warehouse strategies, we really start looking at how we're replicating the data, where that data lives, and we start getting into active data center scenarios, active. And so we're really excited around some of the announcements we've heard this week at VMworld 2014 around vVols and where that's going to take us in the next couple years, specifically around vMotion over long distance, hopefully follow the sun, and maybe 5 years from now we'll be able to move our workloads from North America to Asia and be able to actually take those workloads and follow where the people are using them.
That's really interesting about that geographic element. You're being a global company. I hadn't heard that from too many other organizations, so that's an interesting concept about ongoing cloud workloads moving around the world throughout the day. That's interesting. All right, so you mentioned, of course, that we are here at VMworld 2014. We've seen some news around different types of cloud beta offerings, Cloud Object Store, for example, and moving to a virtual private cloud on demand. Where do you see the next challenges in terms of your organization, and how do you feel that VMware is setting a goal post for you, or a milestone? Is there symmetry between where VMware is going with its products and where you'd like to go with your data center?
So the vCloud Air offerings that we've heard so much about this week are really an exciting innovation. Public clouds have been available for a long time, and there are a lot of places where they make sense. But vCloud Air being a enterprise class offering really gives us the management capability, allows us to use the same tools that we would use on site, and really gives us the control that we need in order to provide a consistent experience to our end users. I think there's a lot of power there, a lot of capability, and I'm really excited to see where that goes.
How about some of the automation issues? With their BRealize suite, there's the air automation, and where do you see the component of managing all this? It's become, of course, more complex when you go hybrid. It becomes, in one sense, more standardized and automated when you go software defined, but you also have to have your hands on the dials and be able to move things. So, Carlos, how do you feel about the management components in the news that you've heard so far?
One of the things we really like about vCloud Air is the fact that we will be able to use the same tools on-prem and off-prem and not be having to switch between tools or dashboards or what have you to be able to manage that infrastructure, whether it's on-premise or in the public cloud, and really be able to leverage the efficiencies we have on-premise in vCloud Air as well, and take advantage of some of those new services like the object storage that might be coming down the road, or even the CI as a service for some of our development teams as we start to get more into a DevOps type of world.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now let's tie this back to the business. It's one thing to have a smooth running agile IT infrastructure machine. It's great to have an architecture that you feel is ready to take on your tasks. But how do you translate that back to the business? What does it get for you in business terms, and how are you seeing reactions from your business customers?
We're really excited to be partnering with the business today. I think as IT comes out from underground a little bit and starts working more with the business and understanding their requirements, especially with tools like vRealize automation, we are now partnering with our development teams to become more agile and help them deliver faster services to the business. We are working on one of our e-commerce order confirmation tool sets with App Director, vRealize automation, and their ability to now package and replicate the work that they're doing rather than reinventing the wheel every time we build out an environment or they need to do a test or a dev script. So partnering with them and enabling them to be more agile. IT wins, we become more service-oriented. Our development teams are winning because they're delivering faster to the business, and the business wins because now they're able to focus more on really the core strategies for Columbia Sportswear.
Do you have any examples, perhaps, that you can point to where there's been a time-to-market benefit, a time-to-value, faster upgrade of a application or even a data service that illustrates a little bit about what you've been able to deliver as a result of your modernization?
Sure. Just going back to the order confirmation and orchestration tool set that I just mentioned, that was an upgrade process, and we took that opportunity to sit down with our development team and start socializing some of the ideas around vRealize automation and vCloud Air, and being able to extend some of our services to them. At the same time, our e-commerce teams were going through an upgrade process. So rather than taking weeks or months to deliver this technology to them, we were really able to sit down, start working through the process, automate some of those builds that they're doing, and start delivering. So start with dev, work through the process. Now we have QA and staging, and we're delivering prod, and all this is happening within a week. So we're really delivering, and we're being more agile, more flexible, and I really think that's a very good use case for us internally from an IT standpoint, a big win for us, and now we're going to take it the next time we go through an upgrade process. So we've had this big win, now we're going to be looking at other technologies, Java or .NET, or other solutions that we can deliver and continue this success story that we're having with the business. I really think that this is the start of something pretty amazing, start bringing development and infrastructure together, and really mobilizing, if you will, what Columbia Sportswear is doing internally.
So, of course, we call it software-defined data center, but it leads to a much more comprehensive, integrated IT function, as you say, extending from development, test, build, operations, cloud, and then sourcing things as required for a data warehouse, an application set, or what have you. So it's finally, in IT, after 30 or 40 years, really have a unified vision, if you will. Any thoughts, Tim, on where that unification now will lead to even more benefits? Are there ancillary benefits from a virtual adoption cycle that come to mind from that more holistic, whole, greater than the sum of the parts IT approach?
That's a great question. The closer we get to a complete software-defined infrastructure, the more flexibility and the more power we have to remove the manual components, the things that we all do a little differently and we can't do consistently. We have the chance to automate more. We have the chance to provide integrations into other tools, which is actually a big part of why we chose VMware as our platform. They allow such open integration with partners that as we start to move our workloads more actively into the cloud, we know we won't get stuck with a particular product or a particular configuration. The openness will allow us to adapt and to change, and that's just something you don't get with hardware. If it's software defined, it means you can control it and you can morph your infrastructure in order to meet your needs rather than needing to rebuy every time something changes with the business.
Now, of course, we think about not just technology but people and process. So how has all of this impacted your internal IT organization? Are you, in effect, moving people around, changing organizational charts, perhaps getting people doing things that they enjoy more than those manual tasks? Carlos, any thought about the internal impact of this on your human resources issues?
So organizationally, we haven't changed much, but the use of something like vRealize automation allows us to let development teams do some of those tasks that they used to require us to do. Now we can do it in an automated fashion. We get consistency, we get the security that we need, we get the audit trail, but we don't have to have somebody around on a Saturday for 2 minutes of work spread across 8 hours. And it also lets those application teams be more agile and do things when they're ready to do them. Having that time freed up lets us do more engineering, do a better job with engineering, kind of look down the road better, and with a little more clarity, and maybe try some other things, and have more time to look at different options for the next thing down the road.
And I think another point there, in a fully software-defined infrastructure, while it may not directly translate into organizational changes, what it does allow you to do is to break down silos. So today we have operations, systems, storage, database teams working together on a common platform that they're all familiar with and they all understand, and we can all leverage the tools and configurations. And that's really powerful. When you don't have the network guys sitting off doing things that are different from what the server guys are doing, you can focus more on comprehensive solutions. And that extends right into the development space, as Carlos mentioned. The next step is to work just as closely with our developers as we do with our peers in infrastructure.
It sounds as if you're also now in a position to be more fleet, to be fast. And we've all got higher expectations as consumers, right? So when I go to a website or I use my application, I expect that I'll see the product that I want, that I can order it, that it gets paid for, and I can track. There's a higher expectation from consumers now. Is that part of your business payback that you can tie into IT? Is there some way that we can define the relationship between that user experience for speed and what you're able to do from a software-defined perspective?
I believe that as an internal service provider for Columbia Sportswear, that we can do it better, faster, and cheaper on-premise and with our tool sets extending to a vCloud era or partners at VMware than someone could do preventing black ops situations. For example, someone going out to another cloud provider outside the parameters or the guidelines of IT. So today I believe that we are partnering with the business. We are delivering that service. We're doing it at the speed of thought. And so we're not in a position where we're saying no or not yet or maybe in a couple weeks, but yes, we can do that for you. So it's a very exciting position to be in, that if someone comes to us or if we're reaching out, having conversations about tools, features, functionality, that we're getting a lot of momentum around utilizing those tool sets and then being able to expand our services to the business.
And using those tools also allows us to turn around things faster, which then allows our development teams to iterate faster or to try and experiment things without a lot of work on our part, and they can try something. If it doesn't work, they can just tear it down.
Thanks, Carlos. Okay, so you've gone through this journey. You're going to be plunging in deeper with networking in the latter part of 2014. You've got some early adopter chops here, right? So you guys have been bold and brave. And what advice might you offer to some other organizations that are looking at their data center architecture and strategy, thinking about the benefits of hybrid cloud, software defined, maybe trying to figure out which order to go about it, which POCs are the most important, that sort of thing? Any words of advice now that you've been well into this that you could offer others that are perhaps just beginning?
I'd like to recommend that if you haven't virtualized your workloads, get them virtualized. We're really in that no limit situation. There are no longer restrictions or boundaries around virtualizing your mission critical or your tier 1 workloads. Get it done so you can start leveraging the portability and the flexibility of that. Start looking at the next steps, which will be automation, orchestration, provisioning, service catalogs, and extending that into a hybrid cloud situation so that you can focus more on what your core offerings are going to be, your core strategies, and not necessarily offload, but take advantage of some of those capabilities that you can get in vCloud Air, for example, so that you can focus on really more of what's core to your business.
Tim, any words of advice from your perspective?
Sure. I think when it comes to solutions in IT, the important thing is to find the value and tie it back to the business. So look for those problems that your business has today, whether it's reducing capital expense through heavy virtualization, whether it's improving security within the data center through NSX and microsegmentation, or whether it's just providing more flexible infrastructure for your temporary environments like SAN and dev through the cloud. Find those opportunities and tie it back to a value that the business understands. It's important to do something with software-defined data centers. This is not it's not a trend. It's not really even a question anymore. It's where we're going. So get moving down that path in whatever way you need to in order to get started, and find those partners like VMware that will support you, and build those relationships and just get moving.
Carlos, advice, thoughts about 2020 hindsight?
So as Suzanne said, focusing on virtualizing the workloads and then being able to leverage some of those other tools like vRealize automation and being able to free staff up to pursue activities that add more value to the environment and the business, right? Because you're not doing repeatable things manually, and you get more consistency and those kinds of things. And then now people have time; they're not beat down because they're doing all these day 2, day 3 kind of operation things that wear and grade on you. So,
I suppose there's nothing like being responsive to your business constituents that then enable them to seek you for more help, which then adds to your value, and we get into that virtuous cycle rather than perhaps a dead end of people not even bothering to ask for help or new and innovative ideas in business. So, well, congratulations. That sounds like a really very impactful way to go about IT. And we've been learning about how Columbia Sportswear in Portland, Oregon has been adjusting to the software-defined data center strategy. And we've heard how that's brought them some business benefits in their fast-paced retail organization worldwide. So a big thank you to our guests. We've been joined by Suzan Pickett, the Manager of Global Infrastructure Services at Columbia Sportswear. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you very much for having us.
And a big thank you to Tim Melvin, the Director of Global Technology Infrastructure. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
And also Carlos Tronco, the Lead Systems Engineer there at Columbia Sportswear. Thanks so much.
thank you for having us.
And a big thank you to our audience for joining us for this special podcast series coming to you directly from the 2014 VMworld Conference in San Francisco. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of VMware-sponsored BriefingsDirect IT discussions. Thanks again for listening, and come back next time.